Welcome back to Where Rangers Walk. We are reviewing the Sheffield Wednesday result, and the best post we could find this week is from James. Says it was done in the most QPR way possible. We've got our Rangers fans here to review the scruffiest goal that you'll ever see. Welcome back, Michael, Charlie, and, of course, Joad. This is Where Rangers Walk, and you are very welcome. I think you can all understand, can't we, when he says the most QPR thing to happen. And we'll talk about that goal in a second. We'll also look ahead to the London derby against Millwall this weekend. And we're talking about left backs as we continue our trawl through the QPR side. But welcome back after the international break to you three. Hoping you're all well. Fresh back from your second trip to Sheffield. You can leave that city alone now for the rest of the season. Michael, let's start with you then. We'll come to the goal a little bit later on, but let's look at the performance first of all, shall we? Was that a disappointing one for you?
I would definitely say the first half an hour, 40 minutes was disappointing. We didn't look like we went out there with a clear game plan in mind, but I felt like as the game progressed, we looked okay, but compared to our other performances, wasn't as good.
It's a bit of a repeat, wasn't it, Gerard, from the Sheffield United game where you didn't turn up in the first half and then you got a lot better in the second half. But what is it about this Marty side this season that just have this ability to put in these shoddy 45-minute performances?
Yeah, I think in his post-match interviews and pre-match, they keep asking him about a 90-minute performance, and he seems a little bit lost as to how to get out of them. And I actually think listening to his pre-match Crystal Palace interview, he's more angry having watched the game back, how bad the performance was. I think first half was awful. The second half they improved slightly. I think recently we seem to get better when we bring on Paul Smith with a bit of pace. He makes a massive difference just because he gets his head down and runs, and I think maybe they try to be a bit too clever when he's not on the pitch. And I think we're going to find this probably up until November, Christmas time, that the new players just need a bit of time. Some of them just haven't quite adapted yet. It takes them a bit of time to get into the game. So I think as a fan base, we're just going to have to put up with this for a little bit longer. And so far, we've only lost one game. So we can't complain too much. But yeah, I think that 90-minute performance is kind of just, not quite happened yet.
You're all right, and we say this every week on here, Charlie. This QPR side just don't know when they're beaten. If you look up resilience in the dictionary, I'm sure there's a picture of QPR this season. What do you put that down to? Is that fitness of the squad? Is that mentality that Marty draws into them? Is that good coaching, or is it just luck?
Well, I would definitely say fitness is an aspect. I think last year we had like the healthiest squad out of every single club in England's top 4 divisions. So, I mean, that's pretty good. And as well as that, I do think Marty Fuentes, he's a big believer in sort of the morale of the squad and praising them when they're doing well and letting them celebrate. So I think I think the players out there, they're playing for their manager, which I don't think we've seen in a long time. So yeah,
we have said many times that we joked about his management skills.
He was asked in the interview that he's done today for the Palace game about when Sheffield Wednesday scored. He was straight away organising them, ready to try and get that equaliser. And I think in the past, managers have just had a bit of a defeatist kind of attitude when a goal goes in that late. I think it translates onto the pitch. The players' shoulders are dropped. There's no one who actually believes they can go and get an equaliser. But I think he's the one that drives that belief that even when we concede so late in the game, he's got a game plan. He kind of has a way to try and get something out of it. So.
All right, let's talk about that equaliser then. Let's go through the Sheffield Wednesday complaints first of all. First one, Michael, soft free kick given. Do you agree with that?
Nah, I mean, it's a little bit soft, but ultimately, it just worked out well in the end.
They were having soft free kicks the entire game, by the way.
Okay, fair enough. The big complaint, of course, is they were saying that their goalkeeper Beadle was essentially pushed to the ground and held to the ground while the equaliser went in. And did you see anything wrong in that melee? Do you have sympathy with the referee for once here that no one could see at all what was going on? 12 players on top of one another.
I still think it was handball on the initial header from Dunn. I still think if VAR looked at that, I think it was close shoulder, but I think that's the first thing that it could have been handball. I don't know why the goalkeeper's gone diving in to try and get it. If he stands his ground and just lets the ball come out, he probably picks it up easiest. So I think his mistake is the key there. And yeah, Steve Cook has a hack at Palmer, I think, and Jimmy Dunn puts his hand on the goalkeeper's head. But it's football, right? It happens.
Yeah. Can any of you remember seeing a goal in professional standards anyway? You might have seen it on the playground, but any of you recall a crazier scrambled goal than that?
There's a great clip of QPR Man City from like 94, I think, where it's the scrappiest thing and it ends in one of the worst misses you'll see. But
Was it Les Ferdinand?
Les Ferdinand toe pokes it wide, but the build up to it is maybe the scrappiest kind of standard of football you'll ever see. But no goals like that, I don't think. No.
Okay, well, I think there's a campaign at the moment, QPR fans, to vote that the goal of the month, so that Barry Bannon's does not end up being it. Let's have a look at some of the takes from social media on it, shall we? Michael Robb says Marty wasted yet another half there playing Dembele on the wing when he's clearly a 10 and central. You can't play Mazdas and Anderson in the same side. Both are far too static and slow. Poor performance, but a great ending, and obviously I'm proud of Alfie Lloyd. And we should shout out Alfie Lloyd as well. Tapping as it was, great for such a young player to get that goal. Where do you stand on the Dembele issue, Michael?
I do think he's played better centrally, but I think Madsen needs time to adapt. I think so far he's played well since he's come in, and I think Dembele he does look good centrally, but I also think Chair, when he's back and fit, they need to be flexible. They need to be able to play across that attacking three, and they should work out. Should get used to playing that.
Charlie, where do you stand on this Dembele issue? Because it comes up nearly every single week where they put Dembele on the wing and you don't get the result you want.
Yeah, well, I think the reason he does that is because he's sort of the only other player who can play right wing apart from Paul Smith, and because Paul Smith is so good as an impact sub, and that's where that's where he makes his mark. If you want to have Paul Smith at impact sub, I mean, you can only really play Dembele on the right. So we're quite thin on the ground with right wingers, I'd say.
Okay, Jawad, another one. Harry Collins. Oh, I need to switch. I can't read it. Harry Collins says footballer, better second half, but still a bit flat. Thought Santos grew into the game as it went on and played well, buzzing for Lloyd. Dembele through the middle needs to be a permanent thing. Lepal was man of the match. Well, just talk to us about Santos, which is a name we haven't really mentioned too much this season so far. What's your impressions of his all-round performance has been when you've seen him?
He was brought in as a right back, and then in pre-season he was used as a right winger. In the previous round of the Cup, he played as a right winger, moved to right back for the last 20 minutes or so. And I've got to say, the first 15 minutes on Saturday, I was a little bit concerned. I thought Wednesday targeted him. I thought he struggled, but he definitely grew into it. And I think we're going to need players like him, because I don't think Clark, Salter and Cook are going to be fit for the whole season, which means Dunn's going to have to play inside. So it was good to see him grow into the game and kind of to make his kind of, if you like, right back debut in the league. Quite a tough one, but he did all right. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, then Michael, Rangers says it's our worst performance so far. apart from decent defending. Lucky to be 1-1, but have to laugh at Wednesday still. Nardi and Cook, excellent at the back. 2 points on that one. Was that your worst 45 minutes of the season so far?
Maybe, but I feel like the West Brom game at the start of the season wasn't convincing either. I felt like our defending for Josh Maja was poor, but it wasn't great. The first 45 minutes weren't great. There's no denying that.
And I want to come back to Nardi because when we reviewed goalkeepers, we didn't really know too much and hadn't played too many. How's he generally done for you? I saw him wheeling away when there's obviously goalkeeper in the box there. I think he scored it himself, but how's he done generally?
Well, I feel like his distribution is like levels above Begovic and levels above the keepers that we've had in the last few years, which is exactly how Marty wants us playing.
Yeah, Joe, had you been impressed?
Yeah, he made a great save at the weekend. Actually, I think it was offside anyway, but it was an outstanding save. I think he just kind of oozes calmness, and I think that spreads through the rest of the back four as well. I think he's obviously going to take risks with the ball at his feet, and there's going to be times where we think players are closing him down quickly, but he seems really, really calm, and I don't think he could have made a better start, really.
Okay. All right, Millwall next then. Weirdly, this is the only London derby there is in the league this year, which is bizarre given how many London teams there are. Just talk to me about the relationship, if you could, between QPR and Millwall. We spoke with a Millwall fan on this channel with Jawad yesterday, who was basically saying there isn't really too much. But Charlie, you're the youngest here. How do you feel Millwall?
Yeah, I'd agree with the Millwall fan. I don't think there's too much wrong with it. I honestly think the Luton game is more heated than the Millwall game. I just think, they're for both clubs, they're bigger rivals. And I think it has grown in the last few years because, of the seasons we've spent together in the Championship. But yeah, the worst memory I have is when I was like 6 years old. My dad took me to Millwall away, and they kennelled us in for like an hour after kickoff. I mean, after full time. So that wasn't great to separate you. But other than that, I mean, yeah, there'll be a big police presence, but it's not too heated, I don't think.
No, Michael, you agree with this? You've both got bigger rivals, and you're actually quite similar clubs, aren't you? I mean, in terms of the longevity you've been at this level.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that we both kind of finished in and around mid-table of the Championship, and we're both in London. But I feel like ultimately, there are clubs that get a bigger rivalry out of us, like Cardiff and Luton.
Yeah, okay. And Jawad, what about the game itself then? They've just, on the back of losing to Luton, a team that you comfortably saw off twice. So if by that logic, this should be 3 points for you, shouldn't it?
By that logic as well, they beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-0 and we struggled against them. So you never know. I said last night, I think the home form is still the thing that for 2.5 years now, it's just not been good enough. The start to this season had a really tough first game against a good side, and then that Plymouth game we should have won. I think obviously third home game now, and again you don't want to be getting into October without a home win because that's 2 months of the season passed you by. So I think they'll start quickly like they did against Plymouth, and then it's just a case of make sure they maintain that, because against Plymouth they dropped off after 15 minutes and found it hard then to kind of get the momentum back.
Okay. All right. We'll enjoy the game. We will be watching it on Sky at 12. I think it's early kickoff, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure the police have asked for that. I'd imagine. Let's look at left backs as well. Then this is where we're up to in our review of players. Okay, if they're all fit, Michael, who's the best left back for the Rangers?
Paul by a mile. Out of the options we've got, he's the only out and out left back. And I feel like what he does for us in the set pieces and going forward, he's great on the left side.
Would you agree, Joe, that this is an area of concern for QPR going forward? And to what extent is it a January issue or a summer issue?
Well, I think Powell's out of contract in the summer, and he was linked all summer with Watford. So it'll be interesting if an offer comes in January if they let him go. I think it's probably the one position where one injury kind of Morgan Fox is out at the moment as well. So if anything happened to Powell, I think we are a little bit stuck. I know Colback's got a little bit of experience playing there. I think you could probably rely on him for a game or two, but I think it's the one in the summer that probably Marty would have wanted one more. They did let Lakesh go to Dundee, I think it was in Scotland, which was a bit of a surprise considering there's no backup there, but clearly needed game time. So,
Okay. All right. Before we get your August Player of the Month, a quick word on Crystal Palace. Charlie, how's it go about this one?
I don't. I'm just very excited. I mean, it's going to be great. Eze's coming back, which I'm sure we're all very excited about. There's a, we still all love him. I think. I can't wait for his 95th minute bicycle kick own goal. It's going to be great. But no, it's just, it's great to be playing Premier League teams, Mateta and Ketia, some pretty big names in that Palace side. So, yeah, just looking forward to it. Hopefully we get the win. But I think Palace tend to play quite strong lineups in the cup game. So,
Yeah.
I don't, not expecting anything.
Okay. All right. Good luck against both. We'll review your Palace and your Millwall results next week. Before we let you go then, August has been and gone. Player of the Month, sorry, has I think already been awarded by the club. So we're looking for the unsung Player of the Month, please. Michael, your first digs at this.
I'd probably say Jimmy Dunn, unsung kind of. He's had moments where he's looked not ideal, but I feel like he's stepped up when it mattered, I guess.
Okay. Jared?
Underrated.
yeah, I was trying to think of one, and everyone's been all right. No one's been outstanding. I would have to agree that Dunn he had quite a tough start against West Brom. The Luton game didn't start well with the own goal, but again he steps up when it matters. He leads by example, and I think his popularity in the dressing room is absolutely huge as well. So yeah, I'll go him.
Okay. Charlie?
I would say I think Paul Smith's had a very good start to the season. Again, he has mainly been used as an impact sub, but I think every time he's come on off the bench, he's changed the game. I mean, that's why I've been so successful. I think in part is in that second half when the game's getting a little bit stretched. You bring on Paul Smith, whose main attribute is his pace. So, he's very good getting in behind defenders. I think he's been good this year.
He gets a lot of stick as well from QPR fans online. Quite unfair, I think. I think if he had a brilliant final ball, he wouldn't be playing for QPR. Basically,
Yeah,
there's gonna be kind of weaknesses in his game, like every player at QPR. But the fact that you can guarantee 100%, again, like Charlie said, late in games or in the second halves, he's been the catalyst really in 2 or 3 games. So yeah.
All right, all good shouts there. If you can add any to that list, you know what to do. Drop it in the comments below. And if you haven't yet subscribed, we know there's a few other options for your QPR content online, but we like to think this is the most compact and entertaining 20 minutes that you'll get if you're a QPR fan. Do drop us a subscribe, do drop us a like, and we will see you on the other side. Thank you so much, all 3 of you. Enjoy your games this week, and we'll see you next week.